Go ahead.
All right. This skill testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready to roll. Okay. So I want to welcome everybody to another history-making event in Waterloo Region, our first ever virtual funding announcement with our federal and provincial partners. So I want to thank everybody for making the time today, and thank you for participating in another history-making event. I'm Mike Murray. I'm the CAO with the Region of Waterloo, and I have the pleasure of being the Master of Ceremonies for this virtual announcement. So I'll just try to keep things flowing along expeditiously. So welcome everybody, cabinet ministers, MPs, MPPs, regional councillors, and people watching, media and others watching on webcast. Big day, a pretty significant announcement about funding for transit. And first up is Minister Jagger, Honorable Bardish Jagger, our local MP for Waterloo, and Minister of Diversity, Inclusion and Youth. So Bardish, welcome, and I'll turn things over to you.
Thank you so much, and welcome everyone. I'm really pleased to be here for today's announcement, which will make a real difference for the residents of the greater Waterloo region. This is our first virtual announcement in Ontario, and it's fitting because we are in the Innovation Hub. So I would like to extend a warm welcome to Minister Catherine McKenna virtually to the Waterloo region. Brian May and Tim Lewis and Rod Zaney, I know, are also here with all of us. And we've all had the pleasure of working closely with her on a number of projects in the Waterloo region and surrounding areas. We, of course, are going through a very challenging time, whether it be as individuals, as a community, province, and country. We are all in this together, and that's exactly why the Government of Canada has taken strong measures to see us through this COVID pandemic. Ontario communities, like those across Canada, need help, and we are working to support them and meet their needs. As all of you know, infrastructure, smart, sustainable infrastructure is important because it's all about real things to real people. It allows people to live healthier lives. It helps businesses grow. It keeps communities connected. And to tell you more about this, I have the pleasure of introducing the Honorable Catherine McKenna, Minister of Infrastructure and Communities. Welcome, Catherine.
Well, thank you very much, Bardish. I'm really thrilled to be here. I mean, I'd obviously like better to be in person, but we're all figuring out how to do everything by Zoom nowadays. So thank you very much, Bardish. You are certainly a huge champion for the Waterloo region. We also have a lot of other champions, our members of Parliament, from Rod Zaney to Brian May to Tim Lewis. I have to give a shout out also to my Parliamentary Secretary, Andy Fillmore, who is absolutely thrilled about this announcement. He's a former city planner. He is really excited about public transit and active transportation investments. So I'm happy that he's joined. Thank you to Mike Murray, the entire Waterloo Regional Council. I really appreciate your interest, your support. We really focused on how do we improve the lives of folks in your community, working hard every day. And of course, when you do infrastructure investments, you need partners, not just at the municipal level, but also at the provincial level. So thank you very much to Infrastructure Minister Laurie Scott. We work extremely closely together, as well as to Mike Harris, the MPP for Kitchener-Conestoga, Karen Redmond, Chair of Region of Waterloo, everyone else. I'm sure there's lots of other people that I've left out. But anyway, I'm very happy to be joining you today for this great announcement. Alors, je vais commencer que alors je suis pas là sur le territoire, mais l'annonce se fait sur les territoires visés par la traité des 6 nations des peuples neutres, Anishinaabe et Haudenosaunee. So this is really a big day. Certainly, we have been all focused on the health impacts of COVID-19, as well as the direct economic impacts. We've been working extremely hard as a government with other levels of government to support Canadians through this time. And now we're making it through to the restart. And I think it's important that we also focus on improving lives for people in the community in both the short, medium, and long term. And I'm the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities. And the communities I wasn't entirely sure what communities meant, but I think in the time of COVID-19, it's pretty clear how important our local communities are to our lives. That now everything is local, and we recognize obviously the role of local businesses, of essential workers, of natural spaces, of being able to get around in safe ways and in clean ways. So that's part of the reason I'm just so thrilled to be here. So I'm very pleased to be able to announce $13 million in federal funding for 10 public transit and active transportation projects in Waterloo, Ontario, working with municipal and provincial partners. This is where everyone cheers, so we'll imagine everyone cheering. And it's very exciting because this will allow for the construction of new and expanded pedestrian and cycling infrastructure, as well as improvements to bus stops, to shelters and pedestrian crossings, and intersections that will benefit residents with better and safer active transportation options. So why, in practical terms, is this going to improve the lives of people in your community in Waterloo region? Better for the environment, reduces emissions, tackles congestion so people can get around faster. It also creates jobs, grows the economy, and will increase people's productivity because they can get around faster and better. We are proud to be working closely with municipalities like Waterloo, with other orders of government, with stakeholders to get projects built quickly. These are projects that make a positive difference in the lives of Canadians in these trying times. When Canada builds, Canada grows. This is a great example of that. Alors, c'est la première annonce d'un projet que je fais dans le mois de mars et le début du nouveau monde dans lequel nous nous retrouvons avec le COVID-19. C'est pourquoi je suis si heureuse de me joindre à la province et la municipalité de Waterloo pour annoncer un soutien pour 10 projets de transport public et de transport actif dans la région de Waterloo. C'est un investissement de 13 millions de dollars fédéral. Et on travaille avec la province et la municipalité de Waterloo. Ça va faire une grande différence. Alors, ces projets amélioreront les services de transport, l'accessibilité dans toute la région de Waterloo. Ils créeront également des emplois immédiats et à long terme et favoriseront la croissance économique à un moment où notre pays en a vraiment besoin. Nous investissons pour faire croître l'économie et créer de bons emplois, améliorer la qualité de vie des gens et pour protéger l'environnement. C'est grâce à notre plan historique Investir dans le Canada où nous tenons notre promesse de construire des communautés durables et résilientes. Here in Ontario, we've invested over $7.5 billion through our infrastructure plan towards more than 2,400 projects across the region. There were announcements, public transit announcements later last year in Waterloo that make a real difference too. These are projects that are strengthening the communities where you live, where you raise your families, where you work. And this is just the first in a series of important announcements, investments in improving people's lives in public transportation, in community and recreation centers, in water and wastewater that we will be making over the coming weeks with the province and municipalities. So stay tuned. Quand le Canada bâtit, le Canada grandit. When Canada builds, Canada grows. And now you'll be very happy to know I'm going to hit the mute button and I'm going to invite Minister Scott to say a few words. And thank you. Great announcement.
Yep. No, thank you. Thank you, Minister McKenna. Thank you and your whole team. Thank our local MPs. This is a tremendous announcement. It builds on other related announcements over the last few months, and I think will really help strengthen the transit system and active transportation in Waterloo region. So thanks to the federal government. Thank you to all of you. Yeah, these projects really take partnerships. Federal government, provincial government, and municipal governments, regional governments, all working together. And so we're honored and pleased to have Minister of Infrastructure Laurie Scott here from the provincial government. So I'll invite Minister Scott. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much, Minister McKenna. It's Minister McKenna and I have these weekly calls when we talk about, as she said, all things infrastructure between our two governments. And I appreciate that partnership we're building, not only on the ground, but building the relationship with the governments going forward and getting stronger. And as was mentioned, when we build, all our economies and our communities benefited. So today is just a perfect testament for that. And the announcement in Waterloo, I think last year we were there in person, those good old days of being in person with MPP Amy Fee, MPP Belinda Carahalios, and MPP Mike Harris, who do a great job of representing everyone down there. And I know Regional Chair Karen Redmond is on our Zoom moment today also. Minister Jagger, I don't think I've met you in person, so I apologize for this Zoom meeting that we're all having, but that is the way it's going, I know. So I would now like to ask MPP Michael Harris to say a few words on behalf of the province. So I'm going to say over to you, Mike. You've got the mic.
Well, thanks very much, Minister Scott. And it is great to see everybody's faces today. Like everyone else has said, I wish we could be doing this in person, but hopefully soon we'll all be able to get together and make some more great announcements. But today, I bring greetings on behalf of the Government of Ontario, and I would like to recognize the leadership of Minister Scott in working with both the federal government and the region of Waterloo to help make this day possible. I would also like to recognize our caucus colleagues, MPP Amy Fee and MPP Belinda Carahalios, who are joining us today as well. Last summer, after careful review of the region of Waterloo's transit project applications, the Ontario government nominated these projects to the federal government under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, or better known as ICIP. Today, we are moving one significant step closer to completion of 10 new projects that will be game changers for the region, improving the transit system and making life easier for residents. Ontario's investment today of approximately $11.4 million, along with significant contributions from our federal and municipal partners, means Waterloo Region residents and visitors will get where they need to go more reliably. These investments will help create a new station, cycling and pedestrian bridges, multi-use trails, bike lanes, and other on-street and transit infrastructure. Across the province, we are investing more than $7.3 billion in transit infrastructure over 10 years through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. We are connecting people to places and jobs, work, a medical appointment, classes at school, and back home to their families all on time. Overall, the ICIP program will unlock up to $30 billion in cost-shared funding. Across our province, sorry, losing my notes here. Across our province, we are building and improving transit, roads and bridges, recreational facilities, cultural centers, and local water infrastructure. This is about shovel-ready infrastructure that will support economic recovery and job creation. We continue to work closely with our federal government partners to secure more project approvals. Today's announcement is a great example of this partnership. This is a great day to celebrate that as well, showing everyone that all levels of government can come together and can work together and can get things done, especially during unprecedented times. I want to thank both the region of Waterloo and the federal government for their significant investments in this project. We're working together to reduce the administrative burden on local governments with a focus on economic recovery and renewal. We remain committed to providing predictable, secure infrastructure funding to address local and provincial needs. Some shovels are already in the ground now, and with today's announcement, more shovels will be in the ground shortly. Again, to Minister Scott, MPP Fee, MPP Carahalios, our federal friends and regional government, thank you for your support. It is a great day for transit infrastructure in Waterloo Region. Thanks, everybody.
The virtual applause. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Minister Scott. Thanks, Belinda and Amy, for all of your ongoing support, advocacy, as I've said a couple of times, this is all about partnerships and federal, provincial, regional, and municipal partnerships to get things done. And, that's one of the hallmarks of Waterloo Region is, with all of your support, we can get a lot of things done. So much appreciated. I'll turn things over now to Regional Chair Karen Redmond. I know Karen has some things she wants to say on behalf of the region of Waterloo. Karen.
Thanks, Mike. COVID-19 has presented some challenges, but it's also made us innovative and resilient. And I think this virtual announcement, which I believe is the first for all of us, is great news. I want to thank both the federal and provincial governments for their collaboration and for investing in Waterloo Region through investing in Canada Infrastructure Plan. The federal and provincial contributions in 10 public transit and active transportation projects will greatly enhance the lives of Waterloo Region, and it reflects Council's priority of sustainable transportation. From the expansion of the transit service to Conestoga Dune campus, new bike lanes on Ottawa Street to a new cycling facility on Hespeler Road 401, improved technology and digital information displays, and upgrades to the mobile payment machines on our LRT platforms are just a few of the projects that will make a positive impact on the people here in Waterloo Region. Collectively, these investments address the growing needs of our region and will help us to reach our goal of lower carbon emissions and to take action on climate change. We are innovative, and we also are the recipients of the benefit of having that urban-rural mix, so it's great to see these kind of investments when they've been identified by us in the region locally. These investments will now make a great contribution to sustainable infrastructure, and it will benefit us now and well into the future. This is great news, and I think everybody's in the market for good news. So thank you very much. We really do rely on these partnerships. And when I look at this Hollywood Square matrix of all these faces, ministers, you need to know that I see these faces an awful lot because we're always talking, and really appreciate the fact that the MPs and MPPs reflect local priorities, not only shovel-ready, but shovel-worthy projects. So thank you very much. It's a great day in Waterloo Region.
Well, thanks, Chair Redmond. And I think that actually brings us to the end of this. So, one of the things about virtual is, things move along pretty expeditiously. So thanks everybody for taking the time, for making the time. Thank you to our federal and provincial partners, friends, supporters for all of your ongoing support for infrastructure projects in Waterloo Region, and in particular the 10 projects that were announced today. And we look forward to getting shovels in the ground and delivering on infrastructure that enhances the quality of life for everybody in Waterloo Region. So thank you again for being here. I believe for media who are watching, I believe all the speakers today are available for media interviews following. So I'm sure you've got media contacts. Our Director of Communications can always arrange for interviews if necessary. So thanks again, everybody, and have a safe day.
Hello.
Thank you all.